We're ready. Welcome to Remote Working, episode number 2 with Studio Armstrong, Tap Tap Kaboom. And my name is Rich Armstrong and my wife Chantel Armstrong, co-host on this second episode. And we hope that our audio is working better than last time. Our fancy microphone is on, it is recording, so we shall see. So, what are we covering in this series of videos?
In this series of videos, we're going to talk about things that help the two of us to merge our work and home life and to work together and all the little intricacies that go along with that.
Yeah.
So do you want to explain what this video is about?
Yeah, let me explain. So we know that when you're doing remote work that you're now bringing work into your home. So a lot of people, when they find out that I remote work or work from home, or that Chantel and I work from home, they ask questions like, how on earth do you get any work done? Don't you just sloth around the whole day? Don't you just, play with your dog, play with your kids, do absolutely nothing? And I'm like, no, I actually have the opposite thing to worry about. It's overworking. It's working all the time. And so what we're going to cover today is how to manage that, how to balance work and home. Because we don't want to work too much and we don't want to do too much home stuff that we get absolutely no work done.
Yeah. So do you want to explain to us what some of the things are that you use to get going in a day and to start working and to stop being in loungy morning mode?
Because loungy morning mode is quite nice, right?
Exactly.
So I think every person is going to be different. And I like to call these things cues. How do you get your brain or your mindset from home mode into work mode? And I think that for everyone, it's going to be different. But let me explain a few of my things that gets me from home into work mode. So the first thing is that I have a studio, or we have a studio, an office, a computer room. This is where we do all of our work, or most of our work. We have our desktop computers in there. I have a standing desk. We have a big, long desk. We have books. We have paper, pencils. So when I walk into there, when I sit there, when I stand at my desk, I feel like I'm in work mode. But the thing is, I don't go in there wearing my pajamas. I just don't. I mean, it'd be pretty weird for client calls and things like that. But for me personally, I take off my pajamas. I put on jeans or trousers, put on a shirt, and sometimes I even put on sneakers. I have these pair of New Balance sneakers, and it makes me feel like a superhero, but like a working superhero. So I feel like I'm a designer when I wear these things. So no gown, no sweatpants. I dress like I would be going to an actual office. And then I make myself some coffee, and then as I'm drinking my first cups or my first few sips of the coffee, then I start my work day. And this switches me into work mode. Now, I've heard some funny stories of people leaving the house, walking down the streets and coming back through the same door and then arriving at work. And so this again could be different for you. I don't know if you have any of these cues that help you get into work mode.
Well, I have a bit of a morning routine, like learning Dutch and doing a few things on social media, and then I get up, have a shower. That's a very helpful point, because then you no longer feel sleepy, you're awake, and then put on proper clothes-ish, still comfortable because we are at home. But there is
we don't wear suits in our studio.
There is songs about shoes, got my new shoes on, I think it's a thing. Yeah. So if you put on clothes and shoes that make you feel like you're working, I think it can be super helpful.
Yeah. I also think, showering, exercise, breakfast, things like that are things that kick you into the next stage. Even brushing your teeth can help.
Mm-hmm. So then when you're there and you're working, how do you stay in the zone? Because you are working from home, so you could go to the kitchen whenever you want and snack or sit on the couch and have a little break, but you don't.
Yeah.
So how do you keep yourself in the work zone?
I think, yeah, so for the work zone, I can speak from experience here because I like working. I love working. I would always prefer doing some kind of work to, doing some kind of leisurely activity. So given the option between watching an hour of Netflix or updating my website for an hour, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do my website. So left unchecked, I'm a workaholic, So I like working. So how do I keep myself in the work zone and prevent myself from doing home stuff? Where's my phone? It's in my pocket. This thing. I leave it out of my work zone. I leave it away. If you don't want your home life to invade your work life, keep it away. So my phone is actually on do not disturb most of the time, and I have a bunch of apps that I have like a set limit. They don't turn on until 12 o'clock. That means I can't actually access WhatsApp. I can't access Instagram, Facebook, any of those things until 12 o'clock. That means I have a really nice routine in the morning, and then I start working and nobody actually gets to contact me. I do have my phone and messages app turned on. So that means that if somebody really needs to get hold of me, they can call me twice, and that does come through and it rings in the other room. So that's how I do that. And then things like making sure that I've communicated to Chantel, hey, I'm going to be working for 3 hours. I'm just letting you know that. Sure, I am flexible, but that's how I manage to keep the home life at bay. Yeah.
Nice.
And you? Do you have any points of wisdom there?
I think for me, something that helps me, because I'm the opposite to Rich, so if given the opportunity, I will sit and do nothing on the couch. I love just sitting in a comfortable spot and relaxing. So there's good in both and there's bad in both. I think if you have too much of Rich's tendencies to work the whole time, then
it's not good.
That's not good. You don't get enough time to relax. And if you're relaxing too much, then you don't feel very good about your day or your week at the end because you didn't achieve all that much.
Yeah.
So I think for me, I have a routine of a few things that I need to get done every day, and I've scheduled them like before and after lunch. And for me, I know if I just do those things, then I like catapult myself into the work zone a little bit. And I've already done one or two things. I'm already sitting at my computer, so then it's easier for me to keep going in that.
It's actually a really good thing, like just having less things to do. Even in your work day, it's like, okay, I'm only going to do 3 things or 1 thing rather than my whole list. I have a very long list of things I want to do, so that's why I just carry on doing more and more and more. Whereas Chantal is the opposite, like how do we keep you in the work zone, or how do we prevent you from coming onto the couch or having a nap for too long during the day?
I don't nap that much.
No, I like napping. We've recently had this sun coming into our bedroom in the afternoon, and I think it's perfectly okay to take advantage of being at home. So an afternoon nap in the sun on a bed, it's fantastic, and it actually helps me work a lot better. So yeah, be flexible, and this idea of knowing what your default zone is. So my default is work, Chantal's default is home, relaxation. Knowing what that is will help you make decisions around how to get into the other zone or prevent yourself from staying in that zone. And that leads us on to, the next question or the next thing that we're going to talk about. Like, how do you actually stop yourself from working too much? And how do you stop yourself from just being at home and lounging around too much?
I think the key is routine. So if you think about if you were going into the office or your school or your university, whatever it is, there's a Monday to Friday routine that's happening. So you wouldn't stay up really late in the week because you know that you've got to get up and do things the next day.
Yeah.
So to still treat Monday to Friday as a work week and allow yourself the luxury of watching movies until late or whatever the case is on the weekends. That will still make the weekends feel a little bit special, even though we can't go anywhere. And still, it allows your body the work, daytime, night, sleep time cues.
Yeah.
It's very important to keep your sleep rhythms the same. And what we found when we first started working together is that we would go to bed a little bit later every day and wake up a little bit later every day. And the first few days or weeks, you don't even notice. And then all of a sudden, you're like, why am I 2 or 3 hours out from what I actually want? And I'm waking up at lunchtime, and it's not like healthy and productive.
No.
So to force yourself to still go to bed and force yourself to wake up with an alarm has helped us hugely. Yeah. And there's flexibility in that. I mean, if you had an event the night before, you had a bad night, there's flexibility to get an extra hour or two in the morning, but not to make that the norm.
Yeah. I think that's really helpful. I use a thing called the time timer. I can set up to an hour of time, and then I work for an hour and I take a short break, and then I set another hour. But I think that, starting at 9 o'clock, that's when I plan to start every single day, 9 o'clock. So we'll wake up at 7, then there's 2 hours before work starts. Sometimes, I'm 15 minutes late or something, but I'm aiming for 9 o'clock. And then what we realize when planning this is I don't actually have an end time, but I think having an end time is really helpful. So normally end time is dinner time. It's either, hey, I'm cooking, so I'm going to go cook, or Chantal's already prepared dinner, so hey, love, dinner's ready. Okay, I need to stop working. And so that's definitely a hard cue to stop working. But I think having an end time is very helpful. So I'm going to try stopping at 6 o'clock, and then at 6 o'clock, whether Chantal is cooking or not, I'm going to come through to the lounge and do some reading. And I absolutely love reading. And since this whole Corona thing has started, I found myself not doing so much reading because my routine has been a little bit disrupted. I haven't been able to get out the house as much. I used to do a lot of reading on the train, and this used to give me, an excuse to read more. I used to, be in the routine of reading every single day. So that's what I'm going to do. I also help Chantal cook. And so I think for the last few days, I've cooked with you, which has been really cool. So I think just setting time for a start and an end, and for lunch, like we have an hour, 2-hour lunch break, it's really important. And then you get really good work done when you're not, in home mode, and you really enjoy home mode when you're not working. And so having these clearly defined times of work or being at home is really important. And the thing is that when you're at school, your routine is set by the teachers or the school, the headmaster, the headmistress. Same thing at university. Things happen at a particular time. Same thing at work. So all of a sudden when you're at home, you're like, oh, I am the boss. Okay, I need to make the calls here. Yes, you need to make the calls. So be a good boss to yourself. Set a good routine, a healthy routine for yourself. Don't overwork yourself. And don't shoot yourself in the foot and absolutely do nothing or do absolutely nothing. It's just, not good.
So then as a workaholic,
yeah.
What steps can you put in place to prevent yourself going back to work after dinner?
Good question. So hide the work things. So what I've done in the past is I've closed the studio door, at bedtime so that I know it's done. And so I have, phones, laptops, things like that around the house. And I think that by putting them all in the studio and closing the door or putting them in drawers, it just, poof, they're gone. Turn your work email off and perhaps just do communication with work on your computer, and then just do communication with your friends and family on your phone, and then keep them separate. And I think that's a really easy way to do that. What I've noticed though is that, we've been calling a lot more people. We'll use a laptop. And then while the laptop's there, let me just check email. And now I'm in work mode again. And it happens so quickly. So I think you need to be aware of that and what devices you use for what.
Okay, so to summarize, find your cues, and then learn to stay in the zone and develop your routine.
So find your cues, learn to stay in the zone, and develop your routine.
Hope that helps, guys.
Yeah, that is the end of episode number 2. Well done.